So you're listening to Makin Mighty, the Challenger Sessions. I'm Simon Greenwood-Haigh. I'm joined by my co-host, Scott Cramner. This is a show where we talk honestly about challenger brands and what it takes to build challenger brands, from some of the creative decisions behind it, some of the challenges they may face, and we'll get into some discussions from stuff we've seen in the industry, stuff we've done. But yeah, I mean, how do we know each other, mate?
Yeah, I think I first met you at the bottom of a pile of men playing rugby, didn't I?
You're not the only one to meet me there, but yeah.
So yeah, we've played rugby for a little while, and then, yeah, obviously a few years ago when I went freelance, we started working together on a more professional basis, shall we say. So yes,
Less piles of men.
Yeah, less piles of men.
Yeah.
So yeah, Simon was obviously at AB Foods at the time, and I'm a content creator, so video, animation, print, that sort of stuff. So yeah, we've had 3-4 years working together properly.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Lots of challenger type stuff, lots of stunts we've done.
Yeah.
You've had loads of fucking weird requests off me that you've just run with, which is ace.
Yeah. Can you brand a narrowboat? That's probably one of the biggest ones I've had. Or
yeah, I mean...
Can you turn Bridgewater Place into a can of peanut butter?
The answer is yes, always from Scott, which is why we work so well together. But yeah, cool. So there's going to be a few co-hosted episodes where we're going to chat through a few topics.
Yeah, so today's topic we're getting into is why most challenger brands don't deserve their confidence. Let's get into it, and I'm going to pass you on to Simon first to kick us off.
So challenger brands, it's a place I love. So we're not just going to talk about food and drink, which is my kind of heartland. I'm going to talk all challenger brands, but a lot of them come with a lot of swagger and a lot of confidence, which is great and is needed. And there's definitely a kind of fucking fake it till you make it. I'm on board with that sort of thing. But the ones that don't deserve their confidence get really quickly found out. And this isn't going to be a slating of brands we've come across, but how we're going to dissect that a little bit, understand a bit why it might happen and how you can do it differently. Because I'm sure there's plenty of examples we can think of where it just doesn't deliver the swagger.
Yeah, and I think fairly a small challenger or big challenger brand, I guess it depends at what stage you're in. Rightly so, the founders of those businesses are entitled to some sort of confidence building what they've built, but I think sometimes that confidence is not necessarily needed. I think as brands sort of grow and stuff, the confidence needs to come from the product and the way that they look, rather than from the founder building the brand in the first place. So I think one of the buzzwords at the moment is edgy brands. You need to be an edgy brand, and I guess that's fine in terms of where you kind of see yourself as a look and feel, but sometimes there's no need to be an edgy brand.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to find a bit of a balance sometimes in how you kind of progress as a brand, but also probably as a business, as a number cruncher business as well.
Yeah, and it is important to have confidence in your products and what you're doing, and I guess it's the balance between confidence and arrogance, isn't it? And if you can deliver on the confidence and be single-minded and carve your path and not look left or right because you know what you're doing is the right thing, that's a benefit.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if what the consumer receives or the buyer receives in kind of B2B environment doesn't deliver, that's so fucking damaging.
Yeah.
If the confidence and what they see from you doesn't deliver when they see the product, taste the product, use the product, that's when it's so damaging, I think.
Yeah, and I guess from a brand perspective, obviously, looking at the visual side of things from my side, like sometimes you can make confident, brash decisions with your brand, but I think ultimately, like I said, your product does really need to back that up. You can't really go to market with something and make a big claim if then when your purchasers buy that product, it doesn't back it up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going out saying, I've got the best flavour or this, that, and the other, and then that's subjective, right? It's what's my best flavour might not always be your best flavour. So sometimes those kind of big claims are good, but you almost need that recognition to back it up as well.
Yeah, and I get to speak to a lot of founders, particularly in the food and drink space, and sometimes there's such a disconnect between the founder and what they're telling me and the confidence I feel from them, and then what I see them deliver. So it's almost like that confidence sits with the founder, but then when it dilutes down through the business to marketing, to product, to packaging, to delivery of the sale, it gets kind of diluted down. So I won't name the brand or the founder, but I was speaking to a founder a couple of weeks ago that was talking an amazing game in terms of what they're going to do. They're going to shake up the industry. It was a protein bar brand. Everything on shelf is shit. We're going to change that. We're going to do this, going to do that. And they sent me through the deck and it was so bland. It could have been any brand on there. And you just think, what's happened? Almost, I would buy that, actually, that confidence. But then there's now such a disconnect. I don't believe your confidence.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. But
yeah, that's not an easy place to be kind of going in with that bravado either, especially when you've got brands like Grenade, who, I mean, I would personally say they've got that pretty much wrapped up right now.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen kind of Mars, like Nestle, all try to kind of bring out the Mars protein bars and this, that and the other, but they're just like extensions of the Mars bar. They're not that like singing product that Grenade have got. And I mean, you know, Grenade, again, as somebody who's used that product quite a lot, like Grenade flavours are pretty bang on, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like a really hard market to go to with that confidence. So it's understanding that, like you said, actually that confidence from the owner is, or the founder is amazing, but I do feel like sometimes that confidence can be a bit sort of, well, you know, it's great having that confidence, but
it needs to be backed up by product truths, but also if they can't clearly communicate that through the business, what ends up being the front end of that just doesn't deliver. And Grenade's a really good example where, you know, in the early days when they were hiring hot air balloons and tanks and what they were saying they were delivering in terms of media and comms and advertising, because it was just brash and bold and, you know, we're going to fuck everything else off and we're going to lead and do exactly what we said we were going to do.
Yeah.
That's a good example of where, he's led with confidence, but he's delivering. So,
and I think, like, obviously, we don't want to throw any names around, do we? But Alan, who obviously set Grenade up, like, his whole persona is like Grenade. Like, it does come across as being like quite an outgoing person, and you know that's obviously lived through the brand, and rightly or wrongly, you know, once it was taken on by Mondelez, like some of that has been lost. I think it's kind of turned into a bit of a right. Okay, well, let's see how many bars we can shift rather than that brand. And you know, Grenade are a brand who, you know, they've done fat burners, they've done proteins, they've done protein bars, but that's the one product that's kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And I think more recently as well, you're kind of seeing other brands get on that now. So I don't know if you saw on LinkedIn the other day, like James Smith.
Okay.
So he's just signed a deal with Morrison's whereby his product is on shelf with the Grenade bars, and if you don't like the nootropic drink, or Neutronic, I think it's called.
Neutronic, I think,
Neutronic drink, like if you email him, he will give you your money back and he'll buy you a Grenade bar. So you've kind of got that.
I mean, he's a great example of founder confidence in he as well. Exactly.
And you know, like I mean, once you kind of get on board with, he's done it the same way as well. Like he's been through that fitness journey. Yeah. He's got to the end. I'm not saying he's at the end because he obviously does his coaching still and everything, but now he's made the Neutronic drinks, and he's not afraid. I think his confidence is, like, he's not afraid to call out anybody else that's been shit at it as well. Yeah. Obviously, we've seen all the creatine saga where he's pulled out products that aren't doing it, or basically just lying about the content, and then, you know, he's jumped on the back of that and is now doing creatine sachets for your drinks and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, confidence. Some brands, I think most challenger brands, like, it's fine to have that confidence, but yeah, I think ultimately that confidence has got to be backed up by the product. If it's not backed up by that, then I think you're on a pretty hide into nothing, really.
Yeah, and I think it takes me back to, I guess, when it leaks into complacency. that confidence as well, I think that's when it becomes dangerous for new brands. I still remember, and this was longer ago than I care to admit, seeing, so when I was a buyer, I used to go out to food shows and farm shops and try and find some interesting brands to get onto my shelves. And I still remember it was a cooking sauce brand, I won't name them. Really excited by them, superb quality food. It was better than anything I had in a jar on my shelf.
Was it tomato ketchup? Sorry,
That's it.
That's not really a cooking sauce.
It was a cooking sauce. And I say cooking, it was a pour over. I've made a curry, but it was amazing. But so I got them in for a meeting, and the first question I asked them. So they did the presentation, usual story. It's recipe handed down through generations. It's the best recipe on the market. We use the best ingredients. It's authentic. You can meet the founder. You can talk to me. We'll do all the marketing. And the first question I asked when they'd done their pitch was, can you tell me what makes you different versus the other products on the market? And they were offended. And they're offended because they had the confidence that it was the best products on the market, and I agreed with them. But the problem is when it's a jar on a shelf next to another jar on a shelf, that doesn't communicate clearly to the shopper. So as a buyer, what I was really asking is, why should I take one product off my shelf for yours, and why will my shopper give a shit and therefore pick it up? But they had so much confidence that we just got the best taste. We tried them all, it's best tasting, it's not enough. So I think that when it leaks into complacency, that's when the arrogance, I want to be careful, like we don't want to take challenges away from being confident, but it's complacency, arrogance, it's the other side of the same coin, isn't it? But
yeah, definitely. I think it is a fine line. Yeah, it's a fine line between sort of, I guess, too much confidence as a person versus confidence in your brand. And I think that's probably why what brings us back to the initial question is like why most challenger brands don't deserve their confidence. I think that's earned. That confidence is almost earned with a challenger brand. It's not something that you can just go straight to market with. And that comes from like top down, right? Like you said, it's founder, but it's the way the brand looks and everything. And I guess with a challenger brand, personally, that's why I think that it's quite a good brand to be able to sort of find your feet with how you look and feel early on. And I do think, not banging the grenade drum here, but like if you went back and looked back at their past packaging, like it has transformed over time. I'd say they're probably in a place now where it has found its place. I can't really see it needing to change really, other than new flavours and stuff, obviously. But the way that bar looks, that bold grenade sort of logo, you kind of know that that's them anyway. So,
and I guess that's to coming back to the design point. So I used to have a mentor in one of the founders of Propercorn, and he would always kind of hammer home that the best place to invest time and money is point of decision. And for them, that meant if I've got cash that I can invest to make my product look better, whether that's SRP or the packaging itself or whatever it might be, they were constantly iterating until they found what worked.
Yeah.
Because ultimately you want to be investing in affecting as close to that point of decision as when a shopper's going to just buy brand A or B. So they invested it into design, and as a challenger brand, you've got permission to do that.
Yeah, especially with like small runs of packaging and stuff. And I mean, ultimately, that confidence, again, like it's the ability to be able to earn that confidence with I don't know, from sort of like ground up, like your production, being quicker with your production, or being the quickest production house, or looking the best in changing your packaging, or having the best flavours, or sourcing the best ingredients, or being the most sustainable, or whatever. Like sometimes you can't have that coming to market straight away. It has to be earned.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's, you think about social media and the way I wouldn't say it's easy to build a following on social media, but you don't have to have a great product or brand to build a following on social media. So that confidence can be a little bit vanity if it's coming from that point of view. But as you said, it's earned through execution, rate of sale, from reviews, that isn't just people you know.
Yeah.
And then you can start to be confident that actually we've spotted a gap in the market, but there's a market in the gap, to use a phrase that my old boss used to repeat back to me. And that's where the confidence should breed from. And then the founders that have had that single-minded confidence, they knew their product was going to deliver on that, it just carries through. But it's when the disconnect, I think, happens, it's dangerous.
Yeah. So
thanks for listening. If you found this episode useful, please share it with somebody in the industry, another challenger brand, somebody who's trying to build something, and hopefully they can learn something and take value from it. You can follow us, follow the podcast, follow us on social media for more conversations like this. Future episodes will have guests, we'll have different topics, and hopefully we'll be really getting under the skin of challengers and what makes them tick and how you can act and operate like a challenger.
We're also going to be shaping future episodes around real questions that founders have got. So if there's something you want us to dig into, whether that's brand, sort of growth, retail, positioning, send it in and we'll try and cover it off in future episodes. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.